Here's your breakdown of which Gossip Girl characters represent each of the 7 deadly sins. As a reminder, the 7 deadly sins are lust, gluttony, wrath, pride, sloth, greed, and envy. Lust. Serena van der Woodsen. We're starting off strong with Serena van der Woodsen as lust. Serena's character best represents a deadly sin like lust because she jumped around from relationship to relationship so often. It seemed she was in constant need of male validation based on the abandonment issues from her father. Serena ended up marrying Dan Humphrey, but before that she dated Nate Archibald, Carter Bazin, Ben Donovan, Gabriel Edwards, Colin Forrester, Aaron Rose, Stephen Spence, and more. One of those men was Serena's teacher at private boarding school, and another was one of her professors when she was a college student. Serena certainly got around. Gluttony. Blair Waldorf. The big reason why Blair Waldorf classifies as gluttony regarding the 7 deadly sins is that she indulged in the binge and purge process of her eating disorder early on in the show. Blair's eating disorder was more well documented in the book series, even though the show didn't touch upon the topic as much. Gluttony is the sin of eating too much food, so this deadly sin tracks for her character, but really only during moments when she was willing to binge. Wrath. Jenny Humphrey. Wrath is the sin that resonates with Jenny Humphrey. She was a troubled teenager who was always causing chaos everywhere she went. Jenny was known for wreaking havoc and stirring the pot. She rebelled against her father, tried to dethrone Blair as the queen bee on campus, and desperately tried to steal Nate Archibald from Serena. Jenny grew angrier as time progressed because her father was always cracking down on her with strict rules that made her feel oppressed and controlled. Her anger at the world translated into immature spurts of rebellious and problematic behavior. Pride. Chuck Bass. Chuck Bass resonates with pride when it comes to the 7 deadly sins. He was so prideful about not wanting to lose the Empire Hotel that he was willing to trade the love of his life to his sleazy uncle for a night. Chuck's pride surrounding his billionaire status, opulence, and unwealth is undeniable. Sloth. Vanessa Abrams. Sloth is one of the 7 deadly sins that represents indolence, apathy, and laziness. Vanessa wasn't exactly a lazy individual during her time on Gossip Girl, but she is a character who parted ways with the show earlier than she should have. She dipped off to Spain to run away from her problems at the end of season 4. As a Gossip Girl character, Vanessa would have proven herself to be less apathetic had she stuck around and finished things out. Many Gossip Girl fans believe Vanessa's character was meant to end up with Nate, but since Vanessa was written off of the show, Nate's character ended up alone in the finale. Greed. Nate Archibald. Greed is one of the 7 deadly sins that represents Nate Archibald, but not for a reason you might think. Nate was never greedy when it came to finances, and in fact, he and his family actually faced a slew of financial struggles throughout the course of the show. Instead, greed applies to Nate when it comes to his romantic relationships. He promised to save his virginity for Blair Waldorf, yet still went behind her back to have sex with Serena at the Shepherd wedding. He certainly wanted to have his cake and eat it too. Talk about greediness. Envy. Dan Humphrey. The easiest Gossip Girl character sin to classify of all happens to be Dan Humphrey as Envy. Dan was so envious of his popular classmates that he created the online persona, Gossip Girl, to write his way into the popular crowd. If he hadn't created the Gossip Girl blog, there's a chance he would have never had a chance to end up with someone like Serena. His plan was extremely convoluted, and he was highly manipulative to make everything come together so flawlessly. Jealousy and envy fueled his actions. Do you agree with these Gossip Girl characters representing each of these 7 deadly sins? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.